My girlfriend said, "It's just a girls' night, stop worrying." Something felt off, so I went to the club and found with another guy. When I confronted them, he laughed and said, "Relax, man, it's just dancing." I took out my house key, dropped it in her drink, and said, "Then dance your way to a new place." I should have trusted my gut. Claire kissed me goodbye that evening and said, "It's just a girls' night, stop worrying." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Something felt off. I told myself I was imagining things. We'd been together for 4 years. We lived together. She loved me. I loved her. I had no reason to doubt her. Still, that feeling sat in my chest like a rock. I tried to ignore it. I grabbed a beer from the fridge, sat on the couch, and turned on the TV. Some crime show was playing, but I wasn't watching. My mind kept drifting back to Claire. The way she hesitated before leaving. The way she pulled her phone away when I walked past her earlier. I told myself I was being paranoid. But then I glanced at her location on my phone. She told me they were going to a lounge in West Loop. That's where her date had been. But now she was at a club in River North. She lied. My stomach twisted. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe plans changed. Maybe she meant to tell me but forgot. But that feeling, that sinking, nagging feeling, wouldn't let go. I grabbed my keys and walked out the door. The club was packed. The kind of place with deep bass rattling your ribs, flashing lights that made everything feel disorienting. A place for people who didn't care about anything except the moment. I stood at the entrance, scanning the dance floor. My heart pounded so hard I could hear it in my ears. Then I saw her. Claire. She wasn't with her friends. She was with him. A tall guy, built, probably played some kind of sport. His hands were on her waist. Her hands were on his shoulders. Their bodies pressed together, moving to the beat like they'd done this before. She was smiling, laughing. My stomach dropped. I watched as he leaned in close and whispered something in her ear. She tilted her head back and laughed. I felt sick. For a second, I just stood there. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I wasn't seeing this right. Maybe there was some explanation. But no, there was nothing to explain. She was there, with him. She knew exactly what she was doing. I walked forward, shoving past people, heart pounding so hard it hurt. I tapped her on the shoulder. She turned around, and for a split second, I saw her face light up, like she thought it was him. Then she saw me. Her smile vanished. Her whole body stiffened. "Oh my God," she whispered. The guy next to her turned too, completely unfazed. He looked me up and down, then smirked. "What are you doing here?" she stammered. I stared at her. I couldn't even find the words. She wasn't sorry. She wasn't guilty. She was caught. "I was about to ask you the same thing," I finally said. "Girls' night, huh?" She opened her mouth, but before she could speak, the guy beside her let out a laugh. "Relax, man," he said. "It's just dancing. Just dancing. Just dancing." I looked at Claire. She said nothing. She didn't defend herself. Didn't step away from him. Something inside me snapped into place. Like a puzzle I hadn't realized I'd been working on for months. She was never mine. Not really. I reached into my pocket, pulled out my house key, and dropped it into her drink. She flinched when the key hit the liquid, her eyes wide. "If it's just dancing," I said, voice calm, "then dance your way to a new place." Then I turned around and walked away. I didn't look back. I walked out of the club, heart hammering, ears ringing, stomach twisted into knots. The cold night air hit me, but it didn't help. My hands were shaking. I wasn't even sure where I was going. I just needed to move. People laughed and stumbled down the sidewalk, completely unaware of the world collapsing in my chest. Cars honked. The city lights blurred. I should have felt something, anger, sadness, relief, but all I felt was empty. My phone buzzed. Claire. I let it ring. A minute later, another call. Then another. I ignored them all. By the time I got to my car, I had 6 missed calls and a flood of texts. "Claire, where are you? Claire, please talk to me. Claire, it's not what you think. Claire, answer me. Please." I sat behind the wheel, gripping it so hard my knuckles turned white. It wasn't what I thought? Was she serious? I saw it with my own eyes. The phone rang again. My jaw clenched so hard it hurt. But this time, it wasn't Claire. It was her best friend, Sarah. I answered. "Where are you?" she asked, voice sharp. "Doesn't matter. Are you okay?" I let out a bitter laugh. "What do you think?" She sighed. "Look, I don't know what you saw, but I saw enough." A pause. Then, quietly, "Come over." I hesitated. Sarah and I had never really been close. She was Claire's best friend, not mine. We'd hung out in group settings, but that was it. "Why?" I asked. "I need to tell you something." Something in her voice made my stomach tighten. I didn't answer right away. I could just go home. Pretend none of this happened. Sit in my apartment, staring at the walls, wondering how 4 years of my life had just shattered in seconds. Or I could find out what Sarah had to say. I put the car in drive. Sarah lived in a high-rise on the other side of the city. The whole drive, my mind raced. What could she possibly have to tell me? Was she going to defend Claire? Beg me to forgive her? I had no idea. When I got to her building, I texted her. Me, I'm here. Less than a minute later, she buzzed me in. The elevator ride up felt too long. When I reached her floor, the door to her apartment was already cracked open. I stepped inside. Sarah stood there, arms crossed, face tight. She looked mad. At me? At Claire? I couldn't tell. She shut the door. Then she said something that made my blood run cold. Claire's been lying to you for a long time. I swallowed. My mouth was dry. How long? Sarah's eyes darkened. 6 months. At least. The air in my lungs turned to stone. 6 months. My mind reeled, flashing back to every weird moment, every late-night work meeting, every weekend she suddenly had plans with the girls. The way she started guarding her phone. The way she'd pull away when I tried to hold her longer than a second. I had convinced myself I was imagining things, that I was insecure, but I wasn't. Sarah motioned toward her couch. Sit down. I did. She sat across from me, fingers tapping against her knee. I wasn't going to say anything, she admitted. I wanted to stay out of it. But after tonight, I can't. Who is he? My voice was tight. She hesitated. Not just one guy. My stomach lurched. I didn't even realize I was shaking my head. No, you're wrong. She exhaled, like she'd been expecting that. I wish I was. She reached for her phone and started scrolling. Then she handed it to me. I stared down at the screen. There were messages. A lot of messages. Claire's name at the top. And below it, a conversation with someone saved as M. I started reading. My hands clenched so hard, I thought the phone would snap in half. M. Last night was incredible. Can't stop thinking about you. Claire. Me too. Can't wait for next time. I'll say I'm working late again, winking face. I kept scrolling. M. Do you think he knows? Claire. No. He's so trusting. It's almost cute. I couldn't breathe. Sarah was watching me, waiting. I finally looked up. How long have you known? She swallowed hard. A while. And you never told me? Her expression twisted. Would you have believed me? I didn't answer. Because the truth was, I probably wouldn't have. I stared at the messages again. At Claire's words. The little winking face. The way she talked about me like I was some clueless idiot. The room felt too small. My skin burned. My head pounded. 6 months. Maybe more. I thought tonight was the worst part. I thought I had seen it all. I was wrong. I had only seen the tip of the iceberg. I sat there, gripping Sarah's phone, my mind spinning. The messages blurred in front of my eyes. Every word felt like a blade to the chest. 6 months. At least. I thought tonight was the worst of it. I thought I had seen everything I needed to see. I was wrong. Sarah sighed, rubbing her hands over her face. Look, I didn't know how to tell you. I kept thinking Claire would stop. That she'd realize what she was doing. But she didn't. I could barely process what she was saying. Who is he? I asked again, my voice tight. Sarah hesitated. She looked at me like she was about to drop a bomb. I braced myself. Then she said his name, and my whole world cracked open. It wasn't just some guy. It was someone I knew. I felt like I had been hit by a truck. No, I said, shaking my head. That's not, no. He wouldn't. Sarah gave me a sad look. I wish I was lying. I shot up from the couch, pacing. My hands were shaking. My body felt too hot, like my skin couldn't contain the rage boiling underneath. This wasn't just some random stranger. This wasn't just a bad decision she made in a moment of weakness. This was betrayal on a level I couldn't even wrap my head around. I had been played, used, humiliated. I turned back to Sarah. How do you know all this? She hesitated again. Too long. I narrowed my eyes. Sarah. She let out a breath. Because, he told me. My stomach dropped. What? Sarah's hands fidgeted in her lap. A couple months ago. He bragged about it. My jaw clenched so hard I thought my teeth might crack. He bragged about it? Sarah nodded, eyes dark. Said he had Claire wrapped around his finger. Said you were too blind to see it. He thought it was funny. I felt something snap inside me. He thought it was funny. I needed to move. To hit something. To scream. Instead, I just stood there, my breath coming in sharp, shallow bursts. Sarah watched me carefully. I know this is a lot, but you needed to know. I closed my eyes, trying to steady myself. Then a thought hit me. You said he told you. I said, opening my eyes again. Why would he tell you? Sarah stiffened. I stared at her. She looked away. My stomach churned. Sarah, I said slowly, why would he tell you? She swallowed hard. Because I used to be one of them. The room spun. I took a step back. What? Her face crumpled. Not while you guys were together. But before. I fell for it too. I felt like I couldn't breathe. This was too much. Too many layers. Too many lies. Sarah had been with him. And now Claire. And God knows who else. My whole world had been a joke to them. I ran a hand through my hair, trying to think, trying to make sense of it. Sarah's voice was quiet. I know you probably hate me right now. I didn't say anything, because I didn't know what I felt. Hate, rage, numbness, maybe all of it, maybe nothing. My phone buzzed again. Claire. I ignored it. Then another text. But not from Claire. It was from him. We need to talk. I stared at the screen, my whole body tense. He had no idea that I knew. And suddenly, I knew exactly what I needed to do. I stared at the text, my pulse hammering. We need to talk. From him. He had no idea that I knew. I gripped my phone so tight my fingers hurt. My mind spun through every possible response. I could ignore him. I could meet him somewhere and knock his teeth in. I could pretend like I was still clueless and let him dig his own grave. I took a breath and typed back. Yeah, we do. The next day, I told him to meet me at a bar near the river. A public place. Neutral ground. I didn't trust myself to be alone with him. Not after everything I had learned. When I walked in, he was already there, sitting at the bar like he didn't have a care in the world. I had spent years calling this guy my friend. Hanging out, laughing, trusting him. Now, I wanted to put my fist through his face. He saw me and smirked. Like this was all just some misunderstanding we could smooth over. Hey, man, he said, raising his drink. Rough night? I pulled out the bar stool across from him, my stomach burning. You tell me, I said. He chuckled. Look, I know how it looked last night, but you gotta believe me, man. Claire was just, don't. My voice was sharp. I wasn't playing this game. His smirk faltered. Okay, he said, setting his drink down. Then what do you want to talk about? I stared at him, heart pounding. Then I pulled out my phone and slid it across the table. His face barely changed. He glanced at the screen, at his messages with Claire, and let out a breath through his nose. No shock. No guilt. He just leaned back and shook his head. So Sarah told you. The casualness in his voice made my skin crawl. That's all you have to say? I asked, my voice low. He sighed, rubbing his temples. Look, man, I didn't mean for it to happen this way. You didn't mean for what? I cut in. To sleep with my girlfriend? To make me a joke? To do it for 6 months? People were starting to look. I didn't care. He sighed again, like I was the one making this difficult. I mean, yeah, I messed up. But you're acting like I did this just to hurt you. That's not what this is. I blinked. What this is? You and Claire were already falling apart, he said. She told me, man. She said you barely talked anymore. That you weren't the same. She was lonely. And, I didn't chase her. She came to me. The way he said it, like it was my fault, set something off inside me. I slammed my hand down on the table, making the drinks jump. You're unbelievable. He held up his hands. I'm just saying, it's not like I stole her. She was looking for something, and you what? I spat. You just happened to be there? Like a good friend. He scoffed. Man, don't act like you didn't see this coming. You guys weren't working anymore. Maybe this is for the best. I almost laughed. For the best. Right. I sat back, shaking my head. You know what? I actually believed you were my friend. For years. I let that sink in. But I see it now. You were just waiting for a chance, weren't you? His smirk was gone now. His jaw tightened. Don't turn this into something it's not, he said. You already did. I stood up. We're done. Come on, man. I turned and walked out. I heard him call my name, but I didn't stop. I barely made it 2 blocks before my phone buzzed again. Claire. I hesitated. Then, for the first time since this whole nightmare started, I answered. Hello. She was crying. Please, can we talk? I kept walking. We already did. No, we didn't. You just left. Please. She broke off, sniffling. I messed up. I let the words hang there. She messed up. As if this was some minor mistake. As if this wasn't a conscious choice she made, over and over, for months. What do you want me to say? I asked. That you'll give me a chance to explain. Explain what? I asked, voice flat. That it wasn't just about him. She cried. It was about us. About how we weren't happy anymore. I stopped walking. Then why didn't you just leave? I asked. Silence. I don't know, she finally whispered. I didn't want to hurt you. I let out a bitter laugh. Well, you did a great job. Please, she said, voice breaking. I love you. My throat tightened. Maybe there was a time I would have believed that. But now? I took a breath. No, you don't. More silence. Then, quietly, I don't want to lose you. I closed my eyes. You already did. I hung up. For a long time, I just stood there. The city moved around me, cars honking, people laughing, life going on like nothing had happened. I felt empty, but also lighter. Like I had finally set something down that had been crushing me for months without me realizing it. I wasn't going to let them take up any more space in my head. I took one last deep breath, then walked away. And this time, I didn't look back.